Hello, friends. I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope it's fantastic. Everything here is pretty good. Pretty, pretty good. Um, yeah. So I've been feeling the pull lately, as I have sometimes called it. I don't know how else to describe it, but as a as a as a person that likes to realize my creative desires. I, I have a hard time calling myself a creative person because I feel like the creativity is something that maybe it's hard to assign to yourself. Like what I might view as being creative, somebody else might view as just being derivative or whatever. And maybe those are the same things. So I've always had a hard time calling myself a creative person. I realize I have a lot of outlets, and I realize a lot of people respect and appreciate the things that I create, including, obviously the show. But I have a hard time saying that I'm an artist or I'm a creative person or whatever. But I think you all know, I think everybody knows that I struggle with finding my outlet for that creativity, and I've been feeling that pull lately. I currently don't have a creative outlet and I need one. I'm in desire mode, and currently that desire mode is writing. But the funny thing is, so a few months ago, 6 months ago, I don't know, I wrote like a first part of a story, and I shared it with you, and it was very trashy and very adult. Uh, but it was just this flash of inspiration. This scene came into my head, and I had to write it, and I did that. Uh, Lately, I've had an older story idea just sitting in my brain. It sits there constantly. It mocks me because it should be like a pretty fun and interesting story to tell. But when I sit down to try to write it, I've sat down to try to write it like 3 or 4 times. I just don't have the motivation to put the words on the page. And I feel that way about so many things. I look through every now and then my stories folder in my Google Drive, and there's all of these starts to things because I just don't have the motivation to see whatever it is through, or the I think a lot of it comes down to, today I went for a walk, and I thought of a new way to start this story that I've started multiple times. And on the walk, I had this really fun time telling myself this new start to this story. And so when I got home, I tried to write it, and I wrote about 6 sentences, and I was just bored. Like I had already written it on my walk. So there was no, like, putting it on the page is just work that I don't feel like doing, because putting it on the page means I have to make sure that it makes sense to other people. The way that I think and the way that I talk is not directly translatable to written word. Like, it's not good. So I'm feeling the pull of I need to do something creative. I think that for a while there, the train game was kind of filling that void, and now that's not necessarily gone, but I'm not currently invested in that. I don't know why I'm not gonna continue working on that right now. Not currently invested in the train game. I do have a new prototype. I showed you that I need to cut and assemble. Like I said earlier in that video, I don't have time for it right now. I have house projects, kid projects, work projects, second job projects. Like, I have a lot going on, and I don't have time to devote to it. But I also don't feel the pressure to do anything with it right now, because the publisher that took the prototype, they're gonna, I think, now that I've seen kind of the now that I've pulled back a little bit of the feedback from the second publisher, I feel like I have I want to make those changes, but I'm going to let the first publisher decide whether they want to pursue this project or not. Because ultimately, when you design a game like that, the publisher would probably be very happy if I turned in a game and was like, here, this is a completed project. Do you just want to print it and make money? But that's not typically how it goes. There's usually some back and forth. For most projects, your whatever it is you're working on is probably not going to fit the publisher's vision exactly, and the publisher might say, I like this, but I'd like to see this because it fits our product line better. And I think that's a sign of a good publisher, a good like when they can say, all right, your game is really good and we'd love to have it in our catalog, but our catalog is more like this, and so can you tweak it? And and so then there's some back and forth, and I think that will probably happen. I don't believe the feeling that I got when I left that pitch meeting was, this is a game we want to consider. Maybe not in its exact form. We talked about some things that like, oh, this card's probably a little too strong. So we already had a little bit of a development talk during that meeting. So I think they're going to come back with more changes, and maybe there'll be another round, right? I don't think they're going to come back with a flat out rejection yet. So that project is like, yeah, I could continue working on it, but it's kind of on hold until I hear what they say. So while that was a creative outlet, it also is at the point in development where I don't feel like I'm adding a whole lot of creativity. I'm just iterating. And for me right now, the pull is I really need to create something new. This little art project is not it. This little art project is just a little art project. Like it's nothing like, and I think it's writing. I just need to figure out a more efficient way to do it. I need to figure out a way to, I mean, maybe it's just not be lazy about it, because the actual putting the words on the page is the part that's just like, ugh. I have used Google Notes, it's not Notes, not Google Keep either. Google, Google has their own voice memo, and it will transcribe beautifully. And so maybe I need to sit down with that and just submit and just talk through a chapter of a book and then see what comes out of that, and then take that and edit it. I think that might be the better way for me. I've done it in the past and it worked pretty well. But that also means I feel weird. Like, all right, I'm going to go talk to myself for a half an hour. I feel weird doing that. But I really need the outlet right now. I need something to fulfill me, and I don't feel fulfilled creatively. I feel very stymied right now. I feel like I'm just stuck in a rut of everything. Everything isn't my job. The task that I'm tackling at work is very rough. The task that I'm tackling at my side job is beyond me. I'm just not comprehending it at all. And then the tasks that I'm tackling in my house are, it's an easy task, but it's perpetual. Like, it's the kind of task that we could spend the next couple of months on. Like, we've replaced all the flooring, but now all the trim, all the baseboards, rehang doors. Like, there's just hours and hours and hours of work that we could put into it, that we need to put into it, painting, all that stuff, that is just daunting, and it's not fulfilling work. It's just work. But I also recognize that sometimes that just work is some of the best ways to be creative, because while you're just doing a thing, whether it's, I could sit here and carve on this when I turn the camera off, and maybe that will help me make a breakthrough to something that I want, that I feel passionate about working on. So I have no idea what this video was about. I don't know if it was good or if it was worth your time, but I appreciate you watching it. And if you have any thoughts about creativity and how you can pursue it in the even when it feels daunting, let me know. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know sounds smart is spurious. It is an adjective meaning false, inauthentic, not well thought out. Every week I get spurious accusations of being a spammer, even though my list is entirely double opt-in. Spurious. Spurious. That's a good word. Spurious. And yeah. Do you have you ever done like a mailing list? Have you ever done like a newsletter type thing? I used to. I should. Maybe that's the thing I could try again. Maybe we'll talk about an idea I've been stewing in the back of my head tomorrow, if I remember. Probably won't. Okay, bye.